Frida Mack, and this is La Casa de Frida, your TV show every Thursday at 3 p.m. through Mundo Holístico, that is a TV station in Mexico City, and we are broadcasting everywhere in the world through Facebook Live and, of course, through YouTube as well. So welcome to La Casa de Frida. It's really a pleasure to have you today. Today we're going to talk about interest rates and loans. So it's really interesting because I know everyone wants to know what's going to happen with the real estate market. And, you know, you may have already a house, you may not want to buy a house, but you want to refinance, or you want to know what is going on. Well, today we have someone that has a lot of knowledge, because she's been doing loans for many, many years, more than 24 years. She's been dedicating herself to do loans here in Austin, Texas. So we're going to have her. Her name is Carri Westiall, and you can type any questions. You can definitely let us know if you have any specific question that you want to address. Let's say you want. I know it's kind of hard with the interest rates, because we always want to say what's the number for the interest rate, but you know, things are a bit different when you start looking at the credit and you start looking at other options there as well. So let's see if we have Carri on the line. Michelle, do we have Carri? Okay, looks like she's about to join us. Let me see. Well, while we're waiting for Carri, I want to tell you that the market is really good right now. Definitely, we're still seeing a lot of multiple offers. On every house, basically, that I show, we have multiple offers. So the market is not slowing down. I know there are other markets here in the city. I'm sorry, in the United States, that the market has changed. It has either slowed down, or we can start seeing some changes there. Not in Austin, not in Central Texas, even San Antonio. You know, San Antonio has definitely changed as well. The prices keep rising every month. I know we saw the numbers for the Austin Board of Realtors last year, from last year to this year, and then we saw an increase of 12% in the city of Austin. So definitely there is something to take in consideration there as well. Let's see if we have Carri now, because I think we lost her. We have her. She is in Austin as well. But sometimes technology plays some jokes on us about that. So let me see if Carri is here. Okay, it looks like she's not here yet. But anyway, so we're gonna talk about, if you guys have any questions about the market, let us know, and I can try to answer the questions on my side, which is the real estate part. Definitely, if you want to know what areas are hot right now, or how many offers we have received, I can let you know that as well. Let's see. I'm gonna pull out some numbers for you, so I can give you some information about the Board of Realtors. What we have. Okay, just 1 minute. Okay, so today, let's say just for today, we have 914 new properties that were added to the MLS. MLS is the system where all the realtors use. We can put all the properties there. That way it's easy for everybody to see them, and we're able to look at what's new. Basically, we have on the market right now that went back on the market, meaning like the property was definitely was under contract, but then something happened, either the buyer back out, or something happened with the inspection. So 219 properties went back to the market. But definitely we have lots of properties that are under contract, so they're not available anymore, and that's 1,408 properties there. So let me see here. I'm checking with Carri and see if she's back with us. Okay, it looks like there she is. Hi, Carri.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Hi, welcome. How are you?
Hi, good. Yeah, the airplane mode did not work.
Well, we can see you though, but I don't know if you can do something, because we can see you. We can definitely hear you.
You can't see me?
Oh, there you are. I can see you now. Well,
Okay.
welcome to La Casa de Frida. Thank you so much for being here. I was just like telling people about some of the things that are going on in the real estate market, but definitely people want to know about interest rates, and that's your field. That's the thing that you can do, and you can tell us everything about. So I know I have some questions, and I know the main question people want to know is like, what's the interest rate right now?
So today, our current interest rate is on a government loan, on an FHA loan, goes down to 2.25%. So they're very good right now. On a conventional loan,
2.25%.
On an FHA, a government loan, our rates go down to 2.25%.
Wow, that's incredible. I mean,
yeah.
How many years have you been a loan officer, and how many times have you seen that number?
I haven't seen these rates be this low in a really long time. I've been in the business for about 25 years. With everything going on right now, the rates have been kind of going up and down, but for the last month, they've been extremely low. So it is a really good time to buy.
For sure, definitely. And I was telling people that, because some people already have a house and they're like, I feel really comfortable. I don't want to sell and buy, but they can always buy a second property. Tell us what will be the process if somebody wants to go and seek to be an investor, just a small investor with another house or something that they can manage. Let's say they want to stay in their house, but they want to move to, they want to purchase another house. What will be the process? What will be the down payment?
So if you're looking to buy an investment property, a single family home, you're looking at about 20% down payment. If you're looking to buy multifamily, anywhere from the 2 to 4 units, you're going to need about 25% for down payment.
Right.
So
that's,
for people who currently, if you own now and you're looking to keep your house and keep it as an investment property, if you have a lease on that property, when you move out, you will be able to count that lease towards the income to cover that payment, and then you could move on and buy another owner-occupied property.
Right, because that's something that people sometimes don't know is about, like, I can use my house, like I can, like right now, I have this house and I want to keep my house, and I can lease it, I can rent it, and then whatever amount of rent they can give me on this house, I can use that percentage you're talking about, and then use that towards the payment of my new house.
Yes, correct. So if you're moving on to a new house and you want to keep yours, then just get a 12-month lease from someone who wants to purchase or to rent your house, and then you can purchase another house for as little as 5% down.
5% down. Okay, so there you have everybody that is looking to invest. This is a good chance. You can do 5% and you can have a very low interest rate. I know I have heard people that say, I just bought a house that is bigger than my current house, and I got a better payment. The payment is smaller than what I have on my original home. Why is that, Carri?
Wait, why? Sorry, you have to say that again?
Yeah, so somebody that just purchased a new home, bigger house, more expensive home, but they're paying less monthly payment that they were on their
current home.
Yeah.
Well, that is probably because the rates are at all-time lows right now. So, if you bought a house 5 years ago and the rates are in the 5s, and you buy more expensive now and the rates are in the 2s or 3s, your interest rates, your payments are going to be lower.
Correct. So what would be your advice for someone that has never purchased a house before, and then they just say, okay, I think I need to buy now because at least Austin market is crazy. We are very happy with lots of different options, but also people from everywhere that are coming over here, and they're being very aggressive buyers, and they're making things a little bit difficult for first-time home buyers. What would be your advice?
Well, I mean, there's a lot we can offer for first-time home buyers. If you have a minimum of a 640 credit score and you're under a certain income limit, depending on the county you're in, we can get down payment assistance. That the rates, I believe today the rate was 3.875. It would offer 4% to cover your down payment. So you would just need money for closing costs, which in our market, it's kind of tough to get the seller to pay for closing costs. But if they are willing, then you can almost get in for nothing. And
Right.
it's better that you make a payment and your payment is going towards something that you own instead of something that you're just paying somebody else's mortgage. So it makes sense to buy now with the low rates, and you'll most likely, you could probably get a payment lower than what you're going to pay in rent in Austin.
Correct. And then so when people are saying, you know, I think that, I mean, we don't know what's going to happen to the market. Never, not just now, not just because of COVID, because that's just something, you know, if somebody's going out there and telling people exactly this is what is going to happen, well, they're lying, because, you know, we can't ever see the future.
We never know.
But, right.
All
but
we can
just
say
your,
is,
your personal, let me ask
now?
you this, your personal opinion, not your professional opinion, your personal opinion, because, you know, you've been on this business for 25 years. So you have seen all kinds of stuff. And do you see any idea that like it's gonna crash, it's gonna go south? What do you see?
I mean, it's really hard to see, you know, like I was talking to someone in my office today that follows the market, and he said, you know, just about an hour ago, he said, Carri, the rates are amazing. He goes, they haven't been this low in a long time, but I see them at least being this good for a while. You know, I mean, who knows what'll happen when the election comes up? Who knows? But I mean, you might as well take advantage of what you've got now while you can.
For sure. Yes. And that's basically what I said. You know, it's like we have all these people, all these companies moving here that are creating even a stronger market. You know, this may not be the same for other cities in the US, because definitely, you know, not every city is going to be the same. You know, when we have a healthy market, we have a market that goes up in price 3% per year. I mean, we've been going up like 12%, which is incredible. Yes. So I mean, it's like we are way above healthy.
Yeah, it's a great city, so why not own something?
For sure. And you know, before it's too late, I mean, let me ask you, can you give us an example of like somebody calling you and say, you know, I'm a first-time home buyer, and I definitely just want to get something, you know, maybe on the payments of $1,500 or $1,700 a month. What would they need to do if they don't have the down payment?
Well, if they don't have the down payment, it's the down payment assistance is what you would, you know, lean towards. Like for around a $1,500 payment, you'd be looking at probably around the let's say 200,000 range. Yeah, you'll be around 200,000. Will get you about $1,500 a month. Right. But that's including your taxes and insurance.
Yes. Yeah, that's another thing, because people sometimes they are on the misconception that, you know, you have to do your payment, you know, it's going to be $1,500 a month. And then at the end of the year, you're going to have to pay these $6,000 in taxes or whatever your taxes are. And tell us about how that works for first-time home buyers. How do you guys divide that payment of the property taxes and then assess that to your monthly payment?
So when you're doing the first-time home buyer program, example, government, you know, 3.5% down, we're going to include those taxes and your insurance in your payments. So when it comes time that everything is due, like taxes are due at the end of the year, we've collected an escrow account for you. So it's covered. You won't have to do anything. And same with your insurance. We'll collect a year up front, and that's all part of your closing. So each year when that expires, we update it, and it's always covered. So you just make your monthly payment, and we handle the taxes and insurance.
Cool.
So yeah, but you know, there are a lot of buyers, you know, when you're putting 20% down and you've been an experienced buyer, you have an option to pay your own taxes and insurance at the end of the year.
Right.
But that's completely up to you, and that's a 20% down loan.
Yes. So let's talk about people that are, because there are people, a lot of people are watching us outside the US, and they, you know, there may be some investors there that want to buy something here in Austin or anywhere in the US. What do they need to do? I mean, if you are an investor, you live in Mexico, let's say, and you don't, you know, you're not planning to move here, you just want to own property. What would be the steps to do a purchase.
When you live out of the country?
Yes.
Well, those are tricky loans. We're not seeing too many of them come back right now, but when they are ready to come back, there are like foreign national programs that as long as you live somewhere else and you can document you live somewhere else, then it's usually between 20 and 30% down. And we don't really verify that you even have a job. It's basically your assets in another country. You know, you just verify that you're from somewhere else and it's considered an investment property.
And that can be anywhere in any country. It doesn't have to be Mexico, or it could be anywhere.
Yeah, I closed someone last year that he was actually a pilot in another country, and it was super easy. But it was I believe 30% down, and it's called the Foreign National Program.
Yeah. So smaller requirements, but a larger down payment, of course, because the bank has to secure, the investment. Of course. Yes. Okay. That's good to know, because I know there is a lot of people that, they may have some savings, or they may have a really cool job like that pilot person you were talking about, and they may just want to purchase homes in different countries, which is something that you can do. And it can just be done easily. Can it be done like in their country where they sign there, or do they have to actually come here and sign documents here?
You can sign at like the embassy. You would have to go to the embassy, or it gets a little bit tricky. There are, like, if you have someone sign here for you, like
power of attorney.
A power of attorney, yeah. But you have to have it all stamped and prepared for someone to sign here for you
before you leave the US.
Yes. Yeah. And be available for them to
Carri
talk
and
to
I
you that
have
day.
had some deals, because Carri and I have worked together on many deals. I'm very fortunate to have her as part of my team at in my real estate business, and she's one of the my to-go people, because she's definitely really good and really fast, and she's always like having these ideas of like how to make the loan work, and like moving things around to see, okay, we haven't looked into this area, maybe there is a person can be approved there. So definitely, if you're looking into purchasing in the US, so give us a call, give Carri a call, and find out more about what the process is, because it's not that difficult. We have done closings before. I remember you and I did one where the person was in Mexico. He was not in Mexico City, but he had to travel to Mexico City to go to the embassy and sign those documents. Yeah, because he left the US before he signed the power of attorney and all that, which it was a little bit.
There's always a way. You just have to, figure out how to do it.
For sure. Yes. So and now let's talk about refinancing. What about those people that they're like not ready to buy a house, a second home, but they said, I have my house, I just want to see if I can lower my payment. People have a lot of questions about refinancing. They don't know if they're like, is it going to go back to 30 years? Is it going to be, what's happening? Am I getting money back? What are all those, what a refinancing is? Tell us.
So you have an option depending on how long you've already been in your home. If you've been in there for about 5 years, you can stick with a 30-year, and you want your interest rate to at least drop by 1% to make it worth your refinance. So as long as there's equity, you can roll in all the closing costs, so you can come to closing with nothing but a better rate and a lower payment. The other options are, if you're in a 30-year, you can go down to a 20 or 15-year and knock off some of that the term.
Okay, so things to look up for that is, am I going to be saving at least 1%? And most likely on the interest rate, everybody right now, or most of the people will be saving 1, because we were talking about interest rates where they were like a 6%, 5%. And if they refinance now, they could just probably get up to like 3%, correct?
That is correct. Yeah. So depending on your credit score, what you owe versus what your house appraised for, that all works together to show, to give you what your new interest rate's going to be. But I'm working on one right now whose rate was 4.625 just a year ago, and we've dropped it to 3. So this was a savings for him for like $200 a month.
Yeah. Okay, so people, let's pay attention to how much percentage is going to change on the interest rate. If it's going to be at least 1%, we're good there. And then how many years too, right? Because you said you could go from 30 years to 20 or 30 years to 15 years, or you can keep it at the, oh, hi there.
Stormy.
Stormy, how are you, Stormy?
Good. Want some ice cream?
Okay.
That's our new life, right? I mean, I don't have kids, but that's what it is. The good thing is I know Stormy.
Working from home, so that's
working from home. I know. You remind me of that. There was this news person that his two kids got into the when he was going live national, and then he's trying to kick his kids. You just remind me of that.
Yes, I'm constantly go play.
You're like, I'm working. Yes. Oh, I'm sure this is gonna go viral. Okay, so going back to the interest rates and the refinancing, so we could cut our refinancing from 30 years to 15 years or 20 years. It just depends. Can people keep them through 30 years? Is that something that you guys recommend?
Yeah, I mean, they can keep the 30 years depending on, what I like to do is give you different scenarios. Say, here's what your payment will be on a 30-year. Here's what it would be for a 15-year. And if someone has, rates that are, in the high 4s, maybe 5, and we drop it to a 15-year, if we lower that rate so much, going from 30 year to 15 years, the payment could be about the same, but then you've knocked off 15 years of your term.
Okay.
So it's worth, just checking it out, I mean, you don't have to go through with anything, but at least check it out and see how much you can save.
And I'm glad that you said that, because I was just going to ask you, when people, Carri and I see this because we work together, and, we've been in the business for a long time. So a lot of the times people are afraid. They just come and they're like, yeah, I want to buy a house, but don't run my credit because, I've been hearing all this stuff about my credit, and I don't know if you run my credit, then it's going to drop so many points. What happens there? Tell us about the credit and what can we do about that?
I mean, it's really hard to say what it's going to drop your credit scores. If you're just running it one time, it shouldn't affect it too much. When you shop from place to place to place to place, of course, it will, it'll eventually affect your credit scores. But we're not like, getting a car loan where they go to every investor and they all pull your credit. We do it one time. I check things out. Sometimes, we have options to look and see, okay, well, you might, if you do certain amount of things on your credit, you can get your credit scores up. So it is good to at least check it out and know where you're at to see if we need to increase it or if you have options to get your scores up. So, I mean, it's not going to hurt. And you need to have it ran if you're going to refinance or purchase. I know a lot of people are afraid because, everything that's happened with credit, but I wouldn't. Yeah,
that's the number one thing that we hear is like, I want to buy a house. I want to know what I need to do, but don't run my credit. And really, that's like the number one we need to do to see what you need to do.
Yeah, I mean, it's good to know. It's good to know because what you see on, some of those credit, services that are like, this is your credit score. It's not always that. Right. I always find that it's a little bit different. So, for us to run it, we can tell you exactly where you stand and, then go from there.
Yes. And even if it's bad, because I always tell people, even if it's a bad credit and then you have all these things there, well, still it's good to know. That way you can work on it.
It is. Yeah. I mean, I would like to know what does my credit look like? You don't know.
Right. And at least you can work on something, right? Because I know that's something that you can do too. Carri, for everyone who's watching, Carri also helps people to look at their credit, and sometimes people don't qualify. I'm not gonna tell you that everybody that we run it qualifies. Right. No, we have a lot of people that don't qualify, and then they sit with Carri, and then they're looking through their stuff. I don't know exactly what they go through, but Carri will be advising like, okay, pay this off, make this payment over here, or bring the balance down to whatever, and that helps you to increase your score. Correct?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So even if we can't do something now, it doesn't mean that we couldn't do something in the future if you have some guidance, on what's actually on there and what you should do to, fix it.
Right. So
people shouldn't be afraid of me. I know they are sometimes, but I'm nice.
They are actually. They are the people are really afraid of, like, not you, but just a loan officer, somebody that will run a credit. They're like, and then what happens with this thing that we hear? If you run your credit one time, you can run your credit for 2 weeks with all, shopping around with other loan officers, with other banks. Is that true or not?
I mean, that's what I've heard, but I mean, I can't 100% say that that's the truth,
Yeah.
So you don't want a lot of inquiries on your credit report.
Yeah. I usually tell people, go with 2 or 3, but most important is, like, do you build this relationship with the person that is doing your loan? Because, I mean, you have to trust the person, it can just be like.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I know what happens with, like, when they never really get to see the loan officer, there's just kind of like everything online. So,
well, believe it or not, yeah, it happens a lot. I mean, now it's, it is done a lot online. We collect our, documents by emails or our fax. We'll meet in person. I have no problem meeting in person, but with everything going on, it's a lot of it is just done over the phone. And we can talk like this too.
For sure. Yes. That's what I've been doing a lot with my clients lately. Is just a FaceTime, or, just doing a Zoom call. And it definitely saves them time. It's not the same, but we gotta do our part to go over this situation, to get away from all of this. Yes.
Yeah.
So
it makes it safe, and then we can still see each other and get to know each other.
For sure. And that takes me to my other question about the pandemic, how this has affected the interest rates. Is it like, are people not, I want people to hear from other, not just realtors, not just me, but from other people, that, because you work with many realtors, you don't just work with one, you work with many realtors. You hear all kinds of loan officers talking to other realtors, and you know about the market. What has been your experience? What have you seen the last 3 months? I know I talked to you early this morning, and you were saying something to me that it really is what's happening in the market right now.
Well, people haven't stopped buying. I know when this first came out back in March, the banks, it really affected the programs and the rates. And, our credit scores, we did go down to like 580. But those investors, they're like holding back. They got real nervous. And then we saw, like, our guidelines changed. Our credit scores went up to 680, and rates started, going up. So everyone was kind of freaking out, and then it started calming down. And now today, the rates are great. I mean, they completely flipped from what happened in March. So
they have been down for a while, right?
Yeah. I mean, there's still some programs that aren't available because of, certain investors. But for the most part, everything's just moving on like they were.
For sure. Yes. Earlier today, when I was talking to Carri, she said, I am more busy now than I have been in years. And that is true. And that goes across from everyone. And when I encounter clients or people that are, prospectives, they, I tell them it's incredibly busy, and I've never seen an interest in 15 years that I've been on the real estate market. I haven't seen an interest rate so low as today. What about you?
I haven't either. They're extremely low, and it is extremely busy. I was kind of surprised, with everything that's going on, and some people losing their jobs, so that's kind of scary. But for others, they want to move, they want to buy houses,
right?
So it has not slowed down.
No, and it has been because a lot of people are moving from other cities, and also all these businesses that are opening, here in Austin, all these announcements of big companies moving here, like Tesla or Apple, all those big companies are definitely increasing the value. So I know that in the past, people that have, talked to you and they didn't get approved, did you encourage those people come back to you now because they maybe get approved now that the interest rate is low and maybe their payment would be lower than something that they couldn't afford before?
Yeah, I mean, I try to keep in contact with all my, clients that I work with. I let them know, if we can't do anything now, let's set up a meeting, and I put it in my little calendar, for 3 to 4 months to get back together and kind of see what the situation is at that point. So I try to always keep in contact with, people that are my clients.
Right. So yeah, definitely for those people that actually they may have visited another bank or another loan officer, and they just want to get a second opinion. It doesn't hurt. Like we said, you may not go out shopping around to every single bank out there, but you just doing a little bit of searching for the right loan officer, and because everybody has different programs, and that's another thing I want to talk about, how every how these programs work.
So depending, on your situation. Thank you, Sunny.
There's Stormy again.
Just back.
Hi, Stormy.
There's programs for veterans. So, if you're a veteran, then you might qualify for a VA loan. So that's something you can check out. That's a 0 down program. And then you've got your USDA loans that are for rural areas. So depending on the property, where the location is, that is another option for a 0 down program. Then you have your straight conventional loans, which, anywhere from 3% down for first time home buyers, on to,
All righty. Well, let me just say that's part of life now. And so if you do call Carri and she is one of her kids are like heading from her, that's just basically what you're getting with her. But they're amazing. She has an amazing family. She has beautiful kids that I have the pleasure and the honor to know them as a family, because you build this relationship, and that's what I was telling people. How you get so close to people that you work with and that do a good job. Because I love when people treat my clients really good, and I refer them to people that are that I know that will care for them, that will take them all the way. So it's good to see Stormy here.
Yeah, she sees that was you. So
yeah, she's like, is that Frida? Yes. Oh my gosh. Well, Carri, let's talk about the programs, about those different programs that are available. How a bank has different programs and another bank other programs. I mean, most people would think that it should be all over, like everybody should offer the same, or that's not how it works. Tell us.
Well, a lot of we're a mortgage company, but we're also partners with a bank. So we pretty much can do any program that is available. And it also depends on the loan officers, what they feel comfortable doing. I do a lot of government loans. I love working with first time home buyers. So I've specialized in those programs, and I know the ins and outs. But most companies should be able to do most of those programs, and then they should know how to combine programs like with the government loan, and then you're adding down payment assistance. Those are, programs that I work with a lot.
Yeah, and I'm glad that you said that, because sometimes if you go, if you're a first-time home buyer and you need an assistant for like a down payment, if you go to a bank that are not familiar with those programs available through the county, or sometimes through the city, and sometimes programs last only for any specific time. Correct? They're only available for a little bit.
Exactly. And also they the loan officer has to be approved with those programs with the down payment assistance, as well as the company. So if the company is not approved, they're not going to tell you about those programs, because they're not familiar with them.
Yeah, so that's why when people go to a bank or to a loan officer and said, hey, I want this program, and the loan officer said it's not available or whatever, it's basically that it's not available, or maybe it's because they don't have the option to offer that program, because
right.
As a company, they have to apply and they have to go through some process to get those programs available
Yes.
to them, correct?
Because programs, they do take a while for us to get approved. So that's why, I mean, our company at Infinity Mortgage, they're approved with most programs that are available out there. So that's why we offer them, and then I train so I know what these programs are.
Right. Let me ask you, Carri, what options do you give to people that want to refinance? Like, what steps you say? Go and apply kind of the same when they're purchasing. Go apply to 2-3 places, and then we can see what they can do, or how do you go about if you want to refinance?
Well, generally, like my refinances are basically referrals, past clients. So I've worked with them in the past on many homes. So they trust me, we'll just go through. We either do telephone loan applications or they can go online. Usually takes about 10 minutes. Then they gather their documents that I need, send them over, and that starts the process.
And that's good that you said that, that when people trust the loan officers. So definitely for everybody watching today, go with someone that you trust, because definitely, or ask for suggestions, ask for recommendations, because definitely that tells you a lot, especially when someone refers you to someone they have already worked with, definitely helps tremendously on that.
Yes.
And then you said it only takes 10 minutes, because sometimes people don't want to do it. Sometimes people don't want to refinance or don't want to apply for a house because they're like, oh, I don't have time. It's like they imagine this huge thing that is going to take forever for them to do, like I'm going to have to do these paperwork, and I'm going to have to go into somebody's office, and it's going to take 2, 3, 4 hours. And it only takes 10 minutes.
Yes, it takes about 10 minutes. I mean, I gather, your information, your employment, where you live, and pretty much that's what we look at: your employment, your credit, and your income and your assets. It shouldn't take too long. I mean, sometimes it gets a little bit more difficult. If you're self-employed, we need a little bit more documentation, like, your last 2 years tax returns, personal and business. So that might take some time for people to gather, but it shouldn't take too long.
So if I wanna apply for either my second house or my first home, I give you a call, and what would be like the documents I should have ready to make it easier and to only last 10 minutes, that phone call?
So depending on what you do, if you're just a straight hourly or salary person, we need 1 month pay stub and 2 years W-2s. It gets, if you're self-employed or commissioned, then we're going to ask for additional 2 years tax returns. So if you've got those and a current bank statement, so you can tell me what you've got for assets, that's what we need up front.
Okay, so that's perfect. That's not really that much, because, the W-2s, we can get those easy. Most people save their tax returns. If you don't, then you should.
Yes.
So get your W-2s ready, and then 1 month of pay stuff. If you don't get paid paper checks, you just can go online through your job and then look at your pay stubs there.
Yeah, right. They can download some from usually got a company website. Just get a month of pay stubs. So
right. It's very something about what else you need. Bank accounts.
Anything that any account that you're gonna use for your assets for down payment and closing costs, we'll need 2 months of those statements.
Right. Okay. So that's not that much really, and then just answer a few questions that you can answer the questions. What about the people that are not really tech savvy? Can they just call you a regular phone call and then you can ask the questions?
Yes. I want a 2-year job history, a 2-year residence, where you've lived, and then I just collect a few more, your full name, birth date, social, and we run it.
So those 10 minutes, and then when do they get to know if they got approved or not?
So I can pretty much do a pre-approval based on that first 10 minutes, unless there's something tricky with your income and we need to, review tax returns. but it's good to have at least so I can see those pay stubs and W-2s to know, where they stand. And then, that's usually takes me for a pre-approval, about an hour after we're done, just to go over documents. And if I need anything more, it might take a few more days.
Okay. That's not bad. That's actually really good. In 10 minutes, they can know if they got pre-approval or not. And then obviously after the pre-approval, they still have to give you some more documents, but it's not gonna be, it's gonna be as you go. Tell us just, can you summarize how a loan works? Okay, so we got I called you and you pre-approved me, and then what's next?
So once you're pre-approved, I will give you a list of items to get together, and that's what we just talked about: your pay stubs, W-2s, bank statements. Once I get that, you have your pre-approval. I get a contract. Once I have the contract, I will, make sure everything is correct with the new property. You'll sign disclosures either in person or online. The next step is to order the appraisal on the property to make sure it's worth, what you're purchasing it for, and make sure there's no issues. Once that comes back, it goes to our underwriters for their final blessing on the loan. They might ask for additional items. Most of the time they do. You get those, and then from there, once we're cleared to close, it goes to a closing department where they work up your final numbers, so you'll know what to bring to the closing. Yeah. From there, it goes to the title company, and then you guys meet and get ready to close. Right.
Talk to people about the appraisal, because especially now that we have multiple offers, sometimes, when real estate agents encourage people to offer more, and we said you should offer, whatever more, like 10,000 or, whatever more than the asking price. Sometimes people get a little nervous about that. They get like, okay, am I going to be paying more for my house? But tell us about how the bank works on that.
So say like your house was listed, or the contract, was for, or the list price was like 200, and you say, I wanted to offer 210. So you want to make sure that house appraises for 210, because if it doesn't, say like it only appraises for 200, you're going to have to pay that difference of the 10,000 plus your required down payment.
Right.
So,
but that's only if you sign an addendum that says that you're basically responsible for the difference.
Yes. Yes.
So that's important to know that, but also important to people know that, the bank is not going to lend you money on something that is not worth that price.
Right. So if, your contract was for 200 and that's what they had it listed at, and then it appraised for like 190, I mean, you would hope that the sellers would take down that price to the 190, because that's what basically that house is worth.
Right. Yeah. So you got like this other side that is helping you to know that it's obviously for the benefit of the bank that they do an appraisal, but it also helps the consumer as well. The buyer knows that at least what I'm paying, what I'm being charged on my loan is what the house is worth at this moment.
Yes, I mean, it's a benefit for everyone. We want to make sure that house is worth what you guys are buying it for, and they also, they check. It's not as deep as like an inspection, but we do check. They check the attics and make sure it's all, there's no holes in the walls. The electrical is fine. So then you're going to feel more comfortable purchasing this house with no issues. And if there are issues, then we're going to require that the seller, fix these before they move in.
Yes. And then we got to be very reasonable now, because we have so much competition from everywhere. So people have to move quick, and really, I know, because you work with, like I said, with other realtors as well. I'm not the only realtor you work with, although I wish. So you see that, right? I mean, you see all these multiple offers, and you see people, when realtors tell their clients, move fast on this one, you just have to move fast, because the properties are not staying on the market for too long.
Yeah, so my suggestion is be prepared. get your pre-approval done. So when you find a house, you can make an offer same day, or it will not be there. And even if it is there, I've heard that there's like 5 to 6 people, making offers at the same time. So just be ready to go.
Totally. Yes. Not too long ago, I had a property that we submitted an offer, and there were 33 offers in that house.
Wow.
33 offers. Yes. I was.
That seller was happy.
I'm sure it was very overwhelmed too. So definitely. And the price points do also affect a lot. They're gonna be less buyers in a different bracket of price, and most people we're gonna stay around the same brackets, because that's pretty much kind of like how the system works. Yeah, so definitely if you are in that bracket where there's gonna be a lot of people that make around the same money than you do, then gonna be your realtor and your loan officer have to work together to make things even easier for the offer to be accepted. Like, some of the things that I do is just like I introduce the loan officer to the listing agent right away. So any questions about the loan can be answered, and the person that is selling the house, the listing agent, and the seller can feel a little comfortable knowing that they have been pre-approved, that the buyer has been pre-approved and has been going through the process of like, there is not going to be any surprises at the end of the day where like, oh, guess what? They don't get the loan.
Yes, because that's when listing agents call, they want to know, have they provided their bank statements and their pay stubs? So do you know for sure that that's what their income is? So if we've got that, and we can tell them, yes, it looks like you're a strong buyer, and they're going to want your offer versus someone that they haven't even really checked everything yet.
Right. Yes. So do you get a good team if you're planning on purchasing a house? Get a good team. If you're planning to refinance, go with someone that has a lot of expertise. If you're a first-time home buyer, why not to use programs that are available if that's a good thing for you. Not all the programs are good for everybody, right? Because we also different with our finances, and that's what is hard about your job, because we always want to get an answer from like the loan officers, like, what's the interest rate today? What is, how much money do I need to put down? And everybody's so different.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's situation is different, that's why you kind of just need to sit down and talk. And I like to hear what does my client want? What do you want out of this purchase? And so then we go from there. So I know their situation, and I can put them in the loan that's going to work best for them.
Well, that's awesome. Because I would say, clients are, we're here to help the clients. So tell us what your goal is. It's kind of like what Carri's saying, and then we make it happen. Carri, I want to thank you so much for for taking this call. I know it is a little crazy at home.
Crazy here, yeah. Sorry about
with
that.
4 kids. I know, but I really love it. That makes you more human, and I mean, so people don't have to be afraid. You do have children.
I have 4. Y'all only saw 1, so
yes, and don't say it too loud because she may come here. No, so definitely that's that's somebody that you can trust. I always prefer Carri, because she's very human, and she knows what she's doing. All these years of experience definitely have put her in a very great position here in the Austin market as one of the best loan officers in town. So thank you so much, Carri. Thank you for your time, and always thank you for taking the calls from everyone, because people call you and you definitely run their credit, you help them. It's not about like, oh, I'm only gonna pre-qualify my buyers. You're pretty much
doesn't work that way,
Yeah.
I love working with people, so that's why I've been doing this for so long.
I know. Yeah. Well, thank you so much. Anything that you want to say, or how can people contact you?
Yes, I'm Carri Westiall with Infinity Mortgage, so I'm here to help you.
Yeah, for sure. So give Carri a call. We're gonna put her information on screen. And if not on screen, it's gonna be on the comments, and you can give her a call directly or send her an email. Definitely someone that responds really fast, and just ask any questions. If you didn't feel comfortable asking those questions here on live, just ask for a meeting with her. Thank you so much, Carri. It was really nice having you.
Yes, thank you, Frida.
Thank you.
All right.
And thanks everyone that watched today. This was La Casa de Frida. This show is actually in Spanish and in English. We have a Spanish version on Tuesday. So if you are bilingual or if you want to learn Spanish, well, that's your opportunity to do so. Watch every Tuesday at 3 p.m. and otherwise the Thursday version, which is at 3 p.m. as well. This was La Casa de Frida. Thank you so much and have a good day.